In a high-stakes international board meeting, two small words consistently undermine your leadership. When you start a sentence with, "I think," you're handing over your authority and signaling to everyone in the room that you are unsure of your own strategy. Look at this parsing model. On top, the hesitating structure softens the impact of the message. Below it, the declarative structure strips away the hesitation. The difference in how the room perceives you is immediate. One sounds like a guess, the other sounds like a directive. Softening your language is a natural habit. It feels safer to leave room for error. But when you are directing global teams, that perceived safety net is a trap. It actively undermines your credibility right when you need the room's full confidence. Commanding a room does not require you to change your personality. It simply requires a strategic upgrade to your linguistic operating system. Here are 5 definitive frameworks to do exactly that.
Here is a vocabulary substitution flowchart. Notice the first strategic shift, upgrading your verbs. The phrase "I think" is crossed out and replaced by confident or believe. Say, "I am confident this path will work," or "I believe this is our best strategy." You are shifting your stance from a casual guess to a calculated strategic decision. The second strategy goes a step further. Watch as the personal pronoun node is replaced entirely with an objective data source. Remove your ego and the word "I" from the equation completely. State that the Q3 data indicates a need for adjustment. You bypass personal opinion and build an argument based on hard facts. This brings us to a common hurdle, the fear of sounding arrogant. Notice how this scale balances assertiveness and objectivity. Grounding your statements purely in data allows you to be highly direct without international stakeholders perceiving you as aggressive or dictatorial. The most robust boardroom arguments happen when the speaker steps out of the way. When you become the conduit for facts, your conclusion becomes difficult to argue against. The third strategy focuses on ownership. You were placed in your position for your specialized knowledge. Using hedging language dilutes the exact expertise you were hired to provide. Look at this structural breakdown. We swap the collaborative "we should" for the definitive phrase, "my recommendation is." This visually shifts the conversational weight directly onto your background, establishing you as the domain expert in the room. The fourth technique is about securing alignment. Ending a strong recommendation with a weak, open-ended question like, "What do you guys think?" is dangerous. As this decision tree shows, it fractures the group focus into multiple tangents and invites derailment. Instead, use a targeted closing script. Ask, "Are we aligned?" or "Does anyone have concerns?" Notice how the fragmented tangents collapse into a single consensus node. You constrain the room's response to a binary, professional consensus. Presence requires guiding the room toward a definitive, locked-in decision. By using these frameworks, you maintain the momentum of the meeting until a conclusion is reached. Let's test this. Here is a prompt box showing a weak, hesitant sentence. "I think the project is delayed and we should tell the client. What do you think?" Pause the video right now and mentally rewrite this sentence using the frameworks we just covered. Here is the optimized translation. Watch the nodes transform. The data indicates a delay. My recommendation is to inform the client. Are we aligned? The data, recommendation, and alignment frameworks stack together to form a bulletproof statement. That leaves our fifth and most difficult behavioral shift. State a naked fact and drop the verbal padding entirely. Simply say, "The project is delayed." Nervous speakers feel an intense urge to fill the silence, over-explaining to soften the blow. Look at this audio waveform stopping flat. We are labeling that flat line impact processing time. Deliberate silence is required to let a heavy message process. In a leadership context, silence is an active, strategic tool. You pause to force the room to absorb the full gravity of your words. We now have a complete, actionable pre-meeting checklist. Before stepping into your next high-stakes discussion, review these 5 swaps. This matrix compares the weak frames directly to their executive equivalents. Swap think with confident. Replace maybe with hard data. Upgrade should to a firm recommendation. Trade thoughts for asking if everyone is aligned. And finally, drop the trailing explanations for deliberate silence. Drop into the comment section below and tell me exactly which of these phrases you plan to deploy in your next meeting. Executive authority is a communication habit developed through these deliberate frameworks. Practice them. Then, click the next video, where we break down the precise mechanics of how to politely interrupt in an English board meeting.